Hello and welcome back to the Detox Dialogue Summit. I'm your host, Sam Asa, and I'm excited to bring you Dr. Trevor Cates today as we talk about clear skin from within. Now, who is Dr. Trevor Cates? Well, she is the author of the best-selling book, Clear Skin from Within. She became best known as the Spa Doctor after working in world-renowned spas and was the first woman licensed as a naturopathic doctor in the state of California. Appointed by former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger to California's Bureau of Naturopathic Medicine Advisory Council, Dr. Cates lives in Park City, Utah, where she helps patients from around the world achieve graceful aging and glowing skin. She's been featured on The Doctor's Extra, First for Women, and Mind Body Green. Dr. Cates has her own a PBS special, Younger Skin from Within, and is the host of the Spa Doctor podcast. Dr. Cates, the Spa Doctor skincare and supplement lines are formulated with natural organic ingredients designed to help you achieve the clean and natural path to confidence and beautiful skin. We talked about so much within this lesson, but what you're going to learn is why it's important to get to the root cause of the issue and not just suppress your symptoms, because that's just going to lead to more serious health concerns or conditions. We also talked about what are some of the key underlying factors behind imperfect skin and what you can do about it. We talked about the detox process when it comes to the skin exercising, having eczema, having skin issues, hormonal outbursts, and we speak about what are you putting on your skin and the importance of that. So come on in and let's together learn about clear skin from within. Hello, Dr. Cates, and welcome to the Detox Dialogue Summit. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Now, I'm excited to talk to you, and I want to firstly discuss how you became known as the Spa Doctor. Let's start there.
Yeah. The name actually just originally came from, I'm a naturopathic physician, and I started working in certain world-renowned spas. And so I was the doctor in the spa, so I got to become known as the Spa Doctor. But the Spa Doctor has become so much more than just me working in a spa. It's also the name of my company now, so I'm the founder and owner of the Spa Doctor company. And it really what it's about is it's interesting. There's been this overall approach to skin as something that needs to be covered up and suppressed. It's the kind of the conventional dermatology approach to skin, and whether that's using a topical steroid to address eczema, or if somebody's using more makeup to cover up things, that's been the typical approach. And what I'm trying to do with my message is to help people be aware that the skin gives us really great clues about our overall health. And that if we're too quick to just cover it up and suppress it without paying attention to that, then we're really missing an opportunity to get messages about our health from our bodies. And this is something that I found out from my own personal journey. I was a really sick kid. I had a lot of skin issues, and my parents took me to see a lot of different doctors, and I just developed allergic reactions or adverse reactions to different medications I was given. And it wasn't until my parents found a holistic practitioner that they took me to that really changed my health around and my skin around. And I remember being a child and thinking, why did it take this long to find this approach? Why didn't we have this option from the beginning? So it sort of became my life path, my life mission to help other people see this earlier and see this as an option. And I'm not saying that conventional dermatology is evil, or, I've got friends that are dermatologists, so I'm not going to say that. There is a place for it, but there's so much we can do with our lifestyle choices that help support our health and how it shows up on our skin.
Yes, absolutely well said. And it's common, I guess, in no matter what people are dealing with health, just to suppress it, right? And the skin is a massive one. And I can speak from experience because I often have a lot of detoxification through the skin, and it's, you can't get away from that, right? And so you referred to this as the magic mirror, right? Let's talk about that, because I think it's a good thing that you mentioned, where it is speaking to us at all times.
Right. Yeah. So I call skin our magic mirror because it is our largest organ and it's right on the surface of our bodies. We don't need x-ray, CT scans, any kind of special imaging equipment to see it. All we need to do is look in the mirror. And so it's this great tool that we have. And so instead, I encourage people, instead of looking in the mirror and being frustrated or with what you see, if you're breaking out or if your skin's like kind of dry or dull or red or inflamed, whatever it is, then just realize your skin is actually giving you information. Your body's trying to tell you something. So take a moment to think, okay, what have I been doing different? What can I do differently? What have I been doing? Maybe there's things I've been eating, or if I haven't been managing my stress well, or haven't been sleeping, or I'm using new skincare products that maybe aren't so great for my skin. Those are all things that your body's just giving you that feedback. And so that's one of the biggest messages that I have about the magic mirror.
Yeah, yeah. And so is there certain things that our body is telling us, or is it unique to each person?
Well, there's to a certain extent, we're all unique. We're all different. We have, genetics at play here. We have our own our own histories and experiences and lifestyles that we're going through. So to a certain extent, it's unique, but there are also certain patterns that we can see. And so, if you're noticing any change in your skin, if you're noticing that your skin becomes oilier or drier, or that you're breaking out in certain areas maybe you didn't, or if you have acne and it starts to get worse, what is it? That's information, and that's information that you can use. And also where on your body you're having these breakouts. So for acne, for example, if someone's breaking out along their jawline, that oftentimes is more of a hormonal relationship there. So if you're a woman and you're just you're breaking on your jawline and it's the week before your period or those sorts of things. I mean, that gives you information. So then you know that what you're really looking at, if you're what we're trying to do is then address the root cause behind these signs. So then okay, well, what can I do to help balance my hormones more? If you're breaking out more along your hairline, okay, are you doing something with your hair care products, or is there something going on with that maybe it's more of that? You're breaking out around your mouth, and sometimes when that's happening, it's something that you're eating, and so it's creating and it could not even be acne. It might look like acne, it could be something different, but this is all information. And I mean, there are other things like if you get the puffiness under your eyes, that can be a sign of dehydration. It can be a sign that maybe you've had too much, you had a little too much to drink or too much salt or processed foods, and sometimes you'll wake up the next morning and you'll see you've got that puffiness. So this is all just information that your body's giving you.
Amazing. And what about people that are really struggling, like with eczema or like skin challenges like that? And I often hear it a lot with their kids, and they're not sure what to do about it.
Hmm. Right. And it goes back to the root causes. So what are the root causes behind that? And so in my book, Clean Skin from Within, I help people identify their root causes. I think that there are 6 root causes behind skin issues. And so it's a matter of identifying those root causes. So what I did to help people identify that is I created 5 skin types. And with these different 5 skin types, they have human names instead. So they're Olivia, Sage, Emmett, Heath, and Amber, rather than the typical sensitive, dry, oily, those types of skin types. And that's because I defined these based upon the root causes behind them. So if someone has eczema, for I think you mentioned as an example, and they've got just all this inflammation, usually with that external inflammation, I call it skin inflammation, which is a sign of internal inflammation. So we want to do things to help decrease the inflammation. And so what is happening? Think about what's happening with the body. What is triggering that inflammation? And so you might want to start thinking about the foods that your child or that you're eating that might trigger inflammation. And so certain allergens or food intolerances can definitely act like these big inflammatory triggers in the body. So looking at those from an inside out point of view, looking at the gut health and what's going on there, because a lot of times these gut imbalances can lead to skin issues too. So addressing those, and then that's the internal part. And then also what's going on externally on the skin, because the skin then, when we get into this chronic inflammatory state, chronic skin conditions, then we have to really try and rebalance the skin. And it can be, it's really a combination approach of what you're doing internally as well as what you're doing externally to decrease that inflammation and support the skin, get that natural barrier, that barrier that our skin provides, to get that back to where it should be.
Mm. And what about if people have tried different diets and are quite healthy, and and things, and then they're changing different things, but they're still having trouble, or it's still not working? What then do they reach for?
Right. Well, I mean, it's hard to say because there's so many different diets out there. So, I mean, what I found is, in my book, I talk about a 2-week program, and then the clean plate part of the book is about the foods to eat, the foods to avoid, and I find that there are 10 big trigger foods and drinks for skin problems. And so, a lot of people have done is they've said, okay, well, I'm going to cut out, maybe they've cut out gluten and dairy and maybe sugar, and they've cut out those 3 things, but they haven't cut out eggs or nightshade family of vegetables. There's certain other trigger things that maybe they haven't tried eliminating, so they may have actually missed what their big trigger food is. And so I find that there are 10. I also, with my patients, when I work one-on-one with people, will do food intolerance testing with people if we have a hard time identifying, just based upon eliminating, we can't identify what the trigger foods are. But there usually is, with those kinds of chronic skin inflammation, especially eczema, there usually is a food trigger, at least initially. Now, once we get the body in a better state of balance, then sometimes people can go back to eating those foods, at least in moderation, and not have the same kind of response. So part of it is really identifying those triggers, and maybe it just hasn't been, like as the example you're giving, maybe that trigger hasn't been identified yet. The other thing is, again, going back to the gut. If someone is reacting to a lot of different foods, there's usually something going on with the gut. And so we need to look at what's called leaky gut. There could be a leaky gut issue or hyperpermeability of the digestive tract lining. So we want to look at that and see if that needs to be repaired. Also, if there are any imbalances in the gut microbiome. So imbalance is not having enough of the good bacteria, maybe an overgrowth of harmful bacteria or parasites, or candida overgrowth. And there are a number of different things that could be impacting the gut. So when we get that in a better state of balance, then that can sometimes be the big thing. That's really one of the big things with skin issues. So we get that back in balance, because we've been, as as a naturopathic physician's been talking over the last century about the importance of gut health and overall health, and how to get, how to address gut issues. But now the research is very exciting to see, now the research seeing the research supporting this as well. So we're seeing a lot of research now showing the gut skin connection, as well as the gut brain skin connection, which is also interesting. And so I find that with these chronic skin issues, a lot of times I got to get back to the gut. And I should say too that in my practice with people with moderate to severe skin issues, a lot of times we will, well, I should say sometimes we need to do a combination of a little bit of conventional approach as well as a more of a holistic approach. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of both, but mostly what I find is if you really find those triggers, those root causes, and address those, then you can support the body naturally. And because the body is so wise, and it's just been given the right tools, it can get back to that balance.
What happens if we did suppress it? So what happens if we have an outbreak or something, and we utilize medications and things to cover it up and suppress it? What is it then doing?
Right. And that's a great question, because it does, it's what a lot of people end up doing is, and it's certainly what happened with me as a kid, and what I certainly saw a lot with my patients. And so what I have seen happen, unfortunately, is that if it's just constantly suppressed, and this goes on for a significant amount of time, and really it depends upon a number of factors, is what is that tipping point time. Part of it's genetics, and then also a lot of it's lifestyle and how suppressive the treatments are and invasive. Is that for things like for example, with something like eczema, if that is continued to be suppressed in children, what I've seen is then that will then develop in some sort of other inflammatory health condition like asthma, for example. So then they'll have difficulties with not only with what's called atopic dermatitis or allergic dermatitis, but also the allergies then show up as difficulty breathing, which can be an even more significant health concern. I've also seen people with inflammatory skin issues. It keeps suppressing and suppressing it. Basically, when you're suppressing the immune system, it throws the immune system out of balance, and then what I'll see is people develop autoimmune disease. And so definitely, and autoimmune disease is definitely on the rise. We see it a lot in not only in the skin conditions but also thyroid, and I mean there are a number of different autoimmune conditions that can be very debilitating for people. So there's definitely something that we don't want to do. I mean, there's an approach to it. We can address it once it does happen, but certainly it's good to try and prevent it.
Yeah, it's almost like it's giving us these like warning signs to ease our
Yeah.
way in, and how far are we going to ignore it to then how far it goes, right?
Right. And again, everybody is unique as to when that tipping point is. Some people will live their entire life or maybe most of their life and not have that happen, or they can just continue to suppress. Other people, you see it in childhood, and it happens at different times. And it's a combination of all the different things that they're exposed to in their lifestyle, and then also genetics as to when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, another thing as well, like not just someone who's been struggling for a period of time with a skin condition, but sometimes, we can wake up and all of a sudden we've got an outburst or like a rash happening, or something's coming out or detoxing out of our skin. Now, a lot of people's first reaction would be to, oh crap, I need to find some cream or something to put on this, right? What should be somebody's first protocol when something like that happens? It might be itchy, it might be irritating, it might be causing them drama.
Yeah, no, it's kind of hard for me to just give a blanket statement on this because it really depends on what the skin issue is. Because dermatology is not a simple thing. There are so many different possible dermatologic issues that someone can have. So I would say, in a way, I would say you might want to check in with your healthcare provider. Hopefully, you have a naturopathic physician or functional medicine doctor you can see, so they're not going to go straight to suppressing it, but they're going to be able to help identify, is this some sort of detox reaction, or do you have an infection that needs to be treated, or do you have someone in some sort of inflammatory condition that needs to be addressed, and not just kind of processed through, right? Because sometimes you just give it time and things will clear up on their own. And that's like kind of like what you're talking about with sort of, somebody is doing a cleanse and their body is just sort of going through this process, and you got to wait for the skin cells to turn over, which can take a month for that to happen. However, I want people to be careful that if it's not getting better and it's continuing to get worse, I would say go and get it checked out, because you don't want an infection of the skin. It can leave scarring and all kinds of things. So it's still good to be smart about it.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. And what about skincare and makeup care? Is there anything that people need to know about a particular thing that they should be using on their skin, being that everyone is different?
Yeah. Yeah, there actually is a lot, but I would say that there are really three keys to topical skincare when we're talking about what we're putting on our skin, and what I consider the clean slate part of my book, that my 2-week program is. You want it to be clean. That's really the first thing. Is you want your products, the personal care products you're using, to be clean. There are so many products out there that have harmful chemicals in them, and depending upon where in the world you are, there are different regulations. I'm in the United States, of course. It's not a very well regulated by the FDA. There have only been 11 ingredients in personal care products banned, whereas in Europe they banned over 1,000 ingredients. So it kind of it really varies. So a lot of skincare companies are putting things like parabens or synthetic fragrance, or these chemical sunscreens, and so some of these have actually hormone disrupting effects, and some of these chemicals have been linked to hormone disrupting effects. They're called endocrine disrupting chemicals. So we want to first have products be clean. We want them to be clean, natural, organic as much as possible. The second thing is that when we're looking at natural products, we want them to not only be natural, but we want them to be in their active form. So just like you're going to want to eat the best, freshest source of food, and the best ingredients in your supplements, you also want that for your skincare products, to actually for them to not only be clean but effective, and helping support the skin microbiome and the balance, and that barrier, natural barrier that the skin has. The third thing I think a lot of people are not aware of is the pH of the skincare products. That your skin, our skin in a healthy state has a mild acidity to it. So it actually does best in this 4 to 4.5 pH range. A lot of skincare products have a pH range over 5, which can actually not support that, and actually set us back when it comes to skincare. Even water has a pH of 7, which is too high for the skin. And in a healthy state, our skin can just rebound back after we rinse with water. But especially with people with skin issues or less than optimal skin health, it struggles to get that mild acidity back. So that's one of the things that I found in skincare products, is to find in that range. It's usually a 4.6 to 5 pH is that kind of that sweet spot. So that's why I decided to create my own skincare line, the Spa Doctor skincare system, because I couldn't find other natural skincare products or skincare products for my patients that had all three of those keys, that had that combination that I could really recommend for people. So that's why I created my own. And it's been amazing to see the results that people can have in 30 days, that you can actually help promote your healthy skin and the appearance of the skin with the products that you use, and not just have something your skin look good when you put the product on, and as soon as you rinse it off, it doesn't look so good anymore. Right? I mean, things like dimethicone, for example, is an ingredient in a lot of makeups and skin face lotions and things, that makes your skin look kind of like glowy, and it traps in the moisture and makes it look healthy. But but it's not actually doing anything to promote the health of your skin. And in fact, if you go and you exercise, you work out, or you're in a warm environment, the heat can actually get trapped under that layer of dimethicone and actually disrupt the skin microbiome. So things like that, they might seem like, oh, that they're pretty benign and it makes my skin look good, but they're not actually improving the quality of your skin. Whereas there actually are products that can.
How interesting. What
Yeah.
about if you were to, for instance, have a layer of makeup on and work out or sweat or do something like that? Is that blocking and potentially putting toxins into the skin?
I would recommend not working out with makeup on. I think it's important to remove makeup before you work out, and then also clean the skin again after you work out. I do think, especially because, like I said, for example, dimethicone is one of those ingredients that's in a lot of skincare products, and so then it can create more imbalances. People can be more likely to break out. So I definitely think it's good to work out with a clean face. Yeah, you can still use a little mineral mascara if you want to look good while you're working out or something.
Whoever looks good when they're working out. And what about if, like, besides diet and besides working with a naturopath, if you are having skin issues, is there anything just on a standard basis that not necessarily you're having struggles, but you want to continue a detox of the skin to help it just stay healthy? Is there anything besides diet that people can do to really help the detoxification process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in my book, Clean Skin from Within, I do have this 2-week program, and as I've mentioned a little bit about foods to avoid and foods to eat, that there's that section of the book. And I've also mentioned the clean slate, which is the products you put on your skin. But there's another two important parts of my 2-week plan that helps with having clean skin from the inside out, and that is the clean body portion, which is how to reduce toxins in your environment in other ways, in your home, in your air, your water, your food, and also what you can do to help support the body's um, pathways of detoxification. The kidneys, the liver, the lymphatic system, the skin itself is a pathway for detoxification. So certainly things like dry skin brushing could be a good thing. I don't know if that's something that you've talked to your audience about before, but dry skin brushing, castor oil packs over the liver, drinking teas that help with kidney and liver support. Those are all great things to do. Saunas, exercise, just doing exercise, lymphatic massage. There are so many great different detoxification support, how much some support that you can provide your body. And part of it is we can do those things, and I guide people through a 2-week program, and it's sort of an more of a an intensified time period. But you also want to think about what you're doing on a daily basis, not just doing a detox program, but what are you doing on a daily basis to not only reduce your exposure to toxin, but also to help your support your body's detoxification pathways. Doing things like eating cruciferous vegetables, so broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, that whole family of vegetables, for example, helps with hormone metabolism, which, when we, go through life, and our hormones can get out of balance at different times. So it's good to make sure that that our liver is able to metabolize our hormones properly and that sort of thing. So certainly there's that. And then that last part of the section of my program is clean mind. And when stress is like a toxin too. So when we're talking about detoxification, I always like to talk about stress management, because if we're not doing meditation, breath work, gratitude, any of those kinds of practices, then we're missing out on a really important part of the detoxification, because we need to detox our mind as well as our body. And it does play into those hormonal imbalances, inflammatory root causes, all of those kind of root causes.
Yes, I love that. You remind me of an experience that I had once where I had a massive breakout on my face, and it was like red and inflamed, and they wanted to give me medication, but I knew it was just a stress that I needed to get out of my environment and just chill out a little bit. And within a day or two, it was gone. So I think paying attention to that is so important.
Yeah. I think the more we are in tune with our bodies, like you're talking about, obviously you're very in tune with your body. The more we're in tune and we pay attention, that's why I talk about, you've got this great tool. Look at your skin, what information is, become very aware of it. What does it look like before you get in the shower, looking at your skin and then noticing changes that occur? Because it could just be a simple thing and go, oh, I'm so stressed right now. That's what it is. I didn't have that before. Let me see if I can de-stress a little bit. And if it just goes away on its own, then that's great. And again, like I said before, though, if it doesn't start to go away, or you start to see some warning signs and inflammatory signs, then go get it checked out. But sometimes your body just needs a little extra support.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, where can people go to find out more about the book that you have and your information that you're constantly sharing?
Right, absolutely. So people are in the US, they can go to the spadoctor.com/free book and actually get the book for free. You just pay the shipping and handling fee to get it to you. If you're outside the United States, then you can get the book on Amazon. And then also my website is thespadoctor.com. And by the way, that's THESPADR.com. So doctor is abbreviated. And so there's information there about my products, my podcast, my blog, all that kind of great stuff.
Awesome. And you also have a skin quiz.
Yeah, I do. And people can go to theskinquiz.com, find out their skin type. So I kind of rattle off the different skin types. So you can find out what your skin type is with this free online quiz. And then I give you recommendations that will help address the root causes behind your skin concerns.
That's amazing. I love that. Now, one last question before we wrap things up for you is, being that you've been on your own journey and your own skin journey and stuff, is there something that you do daily without fail to really, really appreciate your skin, or really look after your skin?
Right. Well, I don't just tell people what to do. I actually do what I suggest. So I do all 4 aspects of the clean plate, clean clean plate, clean slate, clean body, clean mind. I do those on a daily basis. I would say one of the things that happened, so I'm 45 now, but when I hit 40, one of the things that really changed for me was actually the skincare products that I was using, and then learning that that is such an important addition to all this, and creating my line of the Spa Doctors Daily Essentials, something that I can't go now without using my 4-step system twice a day. Sometimes I even do it more, because of how much it nourishes my skin. And basically, like, even just the essential oils that I have in the products, that whole experience, that self-care, the pampering, is not only great for my skin, and I know I'm not adding any harmful ingredient, but it's just sort of this, this pampering and stress management in a way technique that I'm adding in.
Amazing. And is there any message you would like to leave the listeners with today?
Yeah, it's just, again, being aware of your skin and not being hard on yourself, looking in the mirror and noticing that any changes, recognizing that if you can find the root cause behind it, you can figure out what lifestyle choices that maybe you can change to help address that. That's really going to make a huge impact, not only with your skin, but with your health overall.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Cates. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great to be here.